Hey guys, how you doing? Well, like I said, it's back to normal service now, so new video up every Monday, Wednesday and Friday, be it a vlog or motovlog encounters video, depending on how much time I have. I've got 4 motovlog encounters videos saved, just waiting to be uploaded, so they're still a bit behind. So for the foreseeable future, every Friday will be a motovlog encounters. Alright, what I'm going to talk about today is something that was brought up by one of my subscribers. In fact, I've got 2 subjects which were brought up by my subscribers. The first one I'm going to do is a lack of fuel gauge. The next video I do will be about preparations for your Mod 1 and what to expect. But on the fuel gauge subject, because this is a cheap Chinese 125, they didn't feel the need to put a fuel gauge or a rev counter or a fuel light even on this bike. So it has got the bare minimum on it, and that sun is so fucking bright. I can't see the car in front of me, I can just see its fucking tail lights. So yeah, with this bike not having a fuel gauge or a fuel light, some people seem to think that would be a bit of an issue. But it really isn't. It was at the start, but you just kind of learn when this bike will run out of fuel. I mean, I have run it completely empty to the point where I ran out of petrol, just to see exactly how many miles I could get out of a tank. And it appears to be that I will run out of fuel at exactly 220 miles. No matter if I ride economically or fucking hammer it, exactly 220 miles it will die. And it turns out with this bike it doesn't give you any fucking warning. I mean, most bikes will go and then it will die. This one just goes fine, 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 dead. So it ran out of fuel, I put it on reserve, and it turns out my reserve tank is 1 fucking mile. What use is that to anyone? I mean, come on, 1 mile. Unless you can see the fucking petrol station, you ain't getting there on reserve. But still, from that experience, I now know exactly how many miles I can get out of a full tank, and how close I need to be to a fucking petrol station when I run out, which is within walking distance. I might as well push the bike there, which luckily this bike is ridiculously light for what it is, so walking it anywhere is actually really easy. Also, I have kind of learned, and if you've been riding a while you'll kind of get this, but the bike behaves differently for the amount of fuel it's got because of the weight difference between an empty and a full tank. When the tank's full, it will easily throw into corners and stay down. It's really easy just to keep it planted perfectly to get round, like a roundabout, for example, as I will now demonstrate. With my foot peg and my exhaust scraping along the ground. And that's with, hang on, now I need to do maths. 220 minus 50, 170 miles left. So pretty much full tank. But like I said, I can throw it down and it will stay there until my exhaust pushes me back up. But when it gets really low, it gets a lot lighter. It's harder to keep it down when you're turning. Because as soon as you open up the throttle, the bike naturally wants to stand upright. And when it's got a full tank, you can open up the throttle, it will lift up a little, but not enough that it will destabilise you. But when it's running really low, as soon as you open up that throttle, the bike wants to like lift itself directly upright. So it's a really noticeable difference. Something I forgot to add was I don't need to just look at how many miles I've done to know when I'm going to run out of fuel. It has got a trip counter on it which goes up to 999 miles. So every time I fill up, I reset the trip counter down to 0. By the way, I am 1.6 miles away from hitting 15,000 miles on this bike. I've now had this bike for 18 months. Which, to be honest, means I've done less than 1,000 miles each month. But that's because it's been in the garage quite a lot getting repaired and sat in my back garden with me bodging it. But I am surprised it has made it this far. Get out the way, you pigeons! Thank you. God, I hate pigeons. Also, the front and rear sprockets and the chain which snapped had done nearly 15,000 miles. So I got my fucking money's worth out of them. Let's hit 15,000 at top speed. Is this road long enough? That's the question. Nearly. 15,000 miles. On an 18-month-old Chinese 125. Not many people can say that they've done 15,000 miles on a Chinese 125 with the original engine. And I mean, I haven't replaced anything in the engine except oil. Gearbox is something different, but everything in the engine on this bike is the original stuff. I'm quite proud of this bike for making it. 15,000 miles. She's done well. Anyway, I went very off subject there. So I've spoken about the lack of fuel gauge and how that's not a fucking problem at all. And it's the same with the rev counter. Because as you can see, this bike's just got one clock and it's a Speedo. But yeah, there's no rev counter or anything on this bike. So, again, new riders, people that haven't been riding that long, people that have only ridden bikes with rev counters, would think that might be a bit of a problem. But again, it isn't. Because you learn the bike. It gets... I mean, obviously, you can rev it until it's maximum revs and you're going to break it. Then you definitely know you need to change gear. But also, when the bike... it's the sound of it. You just recognise that noise of when you need to change gear. I mean, for a while, I was able to go by mile an hour. Because I'd change gear every 10, starting at 20. So I'd go into second gear at 20, into third at 30, into fourth at 40, etc, etc. But since I've got the new sprockets on, it's slightly different. So I'm having to go by the sound of the bike. Now. But again, when I first got this bike, it was a bit of an issue, because I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know how fast I could do in each gear and what the bike sounded like when it really needed to change gear or when it just could do with being in a higher or lower gear. Something I will say about this bike is I think it needs another gear. It feels like it should have 6 gears. You hit 55 and you're immediately trying to put it into 6th. And when you hit 65, the bike sounds like it's about to explode. 70 is when it will explode. Talking of speed, I'd like to address something I said in my last video, in which I said I've got a lower top speed now. I don't, it was running the chain and sprockets in. I've done 55-ish miles with these chain and sprockets, and I'm getting back to being around 65, 70 mile an hour again, so it's resolving its issue. And that's what it sounds like using every single last little rev that it's got. But again, it's a 125. To get good use out of it, you need to use every last bit of it. You need to wring its neck. I wonder if this guy knows that the national speed limit on a single carriageway is 60, not 50. I don't believe he does. Oh, okay. I might be breaking the speed limit slightly. It turns out that my top speed is actually 70 now. I wasn't expecting that. Like bang on 70 and then the needle stops. I'd like to give a quick thank you to the person that gave me the idea for this vlog. I'm really sorry, mate. I can't remember your name. Leave a comment and let everyone know that you gave me this idea. It was the person that left a comment on my last video asking if I'd fitted a fuel gauge. So, cheers, mate. I was trying to think of something to do today and I was looking back through my comments and thought, right, fuck it, I'll do that one. But again, I'm sorry, I can't quite remember your name off the top of my head, but leave a comment and let everyone know it was you. Like I said, my next video is suggested by another person. Again, can't remember your name. Sorry. I'm not good with names. Sorry. I'll remember it for the next video, I promise. But yeah, it will be about preparing for your Mod 1, what you need to expect, what they'll ask you to do. In fact, I can tell you exactly what they'll tell you to do and what you need to know how to do, because I've done it twice now. Not because I failed one, but I did a Mod 1 and Mod 2 to get my L plates off of this bike, and I've done my Mod 1 on my A2 test so far. God, there's too many tests. So if you want to know what you need to know for your Mod 1, stick around. That video will be up on Wednesday. Cheers for watching, guys. Hope you're all doing well. So guys, I'll catch you all next time.